Welcome, Algebra 1 students, to Lesson 49. We're going to talk a little bit more about polynomials, only this time we're going to talk about multiplying polynomials. So we remember our distribution property, or our distributive property, where we can take a term and multiply it times every term within a parenthesis. And that this literally means to multiply. And what we're doing is we're saying that we take a and multiply it times the first term, which gives us ab, and then a times the second term, which gives us a times c. It looks like this, where you take a times b and you get this. Then you take a times c, the second term, and you get this. It's the same thing. To illustrate that a little bit more, let's take this polynomial and let's distribute it. So 2 times 2 would give us 4. We bring down our operator, and then we multiply again. 2 times x would give us 2x. Easy peasy. So we see how the distribution works. We remember how to do that. So let's move on to a little bit more difficult situation. In 49.1, we have 4x times x squared minus 2. Now when we multiply polynomials, we multiply one polynomial by a second polynomial. Each term of the first is multiplied by each term of the second, and then the products are added together. So what that means is 4 is the constant is multiplied by the constant. So we have an invisible 1 here. 4 times that invisible 1 is 4. X times x squared, there's a little invisible 1 exponent. We add the exponents together and we get x to the third. We bring down our operator and we say 4 times 2 is 8. And then x times, there is no variable, so we have to keep the factor of x in here. So we just bring it down. It becomes 4x times 2 becomes 8x. And this would be our result. So let's move on to 49.2. We have a pair of binomials that we are going to multiply. We have 4x plus 5 and 3x minus 2. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the first term times the first term. So 4x times 3x is going to be 12, because 4 times 3 is 12, and x times x is x squared. Now we're going to take the first term times the second term. And we are going to say 4x times negative 2 is negative 8x. This is called first terms. And then this is the outer terms. This is what we're going to use is something called the FOIL method. And the FOIL method says first, outer, inner, last. So first, outer, inner, last. So first term times the first term, the outer terms times each other. Now we're going to do the inner terms. So that's 5 times 3. They're both positive, so that's 15x. And then we're going to do the last terms of each set of parentheses. So 5 times negative 2 is negative 10. So we have first terms in each set of parentheses. All right, in each pair. Let me write this a little bit neater. My pen is kind of messing up. So the first terms in each pair, okay, that's what we're multiplying. We multiply the first terms in each pair, then we multiply the outer terms of each pair, that was this set right here. This was the first, this was the outer, this was the inner, and this was the last. All right, so the inner terms of each pair, the ones that are in the middle that touch, and then we're going to multiply the last terms of each pair. Instead of each pair here, I'm going to say the outer terms of the set. And I'm going to say the same thing here, because it's really not the inner terms of each pair, is the inner terms of the set of terms you're given. So the set. So first terms, this is the first term, this is the first term, outer term, inner term, last term. And all you're doing, this helps you to remember to take this first term here and multiply it times this one and then this one. And then you take the second term and you multiply it times this one and then times this one. That's all you're doing. Now, once you've done that, you're going to look at your problem and you're going to see if there are any terms that are similar that you can combine. And in this case, we do. We have some like terms. We have 12x. Excuse me, I don't know what is going on. I think I swallowed spit or something. We have negative 8x plus 15. That's going to be a positive 7x minus 10. All right, and that would be our final answer. We can't combine them anymore because they have different degrees. All right, let's look at 49.3. And we'll use the stacking method for this one. And you remember the stacking method. We learned it in lesson 48. So we have 49.3. And we have 4x plus 2 times x minus 5. So we're going to use the FOIL method. Let me put it over here. First, outer, inner, last. So our first term is going to be 4x times x. That's 4x squared, right? Our outer term is this times this. So 4x times negative 5. This is going to be a negative 20x. All right. Now we move to the second term. And when we move to the second term, now we can start stacking. So we have a positive 2 and a positive x. That's going to be a positive 2x. So we'll write this here, 2x, because this degree matches. Now positive 2 times negative 5 is going to be a negative 10. And actually, you probably want to write this with the set that it goes with. This was the result of the first term. This is the result of the second term. And you draw a line and you add them together. And it's just going back to that organizational thing where it makes it easier to add them together when they're stacked on top. It also makes it easier to see what you have and see your like terms, or to find your like terms in the first place. And that would be the answer right here to 49.3. All right, let's try 49.4. These are fairly straightforward. All right, we want to multiply 4x plus 2. Man, they really are using 4x plus 2, aren't they? Times 3x minus 5. And I think it's to show you the different variations. So again, let's use stacking. And we'll use 4x times 3x, which is 12x squared. That's our first terms. Our outer terms, 4x times negative 5, that's a negative 20x. Now let's move to our second line in stacking and our inner terms. So 2 times 3x is going to be a positive 6x, and 2 times negative 5 is a negative 10. We draw our line. We start combining like terms. And that's our answer. 49.5. We have 3x plus 2 squared. So how do we do this one? Well, if it's 3x plus 2 and the whole thing is in parentheses and it's squared, then we have to do the whole thing twice. So 3x plus 2 times 3x plus 2. Now we can do our math. We're going to do the first terms. 3 times 3 is 9. X times x is x squared. So 9x squared. Now we do our outer terms. 3x times 2 is going to be plus 6x. Now we move to the second one. That was the last term, so we move to the second one. We do our inner. 2 times 3x is going to be a positive 6x. And 2, we'll do a last. 2 times 2 is a positive 4. We draw our line. We bring everything down. We combine them. And that's our answer right there. Voila. Let's see, do we have any more to do? One more. Let's do one more. 49.6. So we have a binomial and a trinomial this time. So 4x minus 2 times x squared plus x plus 4. All right, so all we're going to do is we're going to take turns. We're going to use the first term and do all three of these. So 4x times x squared is going to give us a 4x cubed. 4x times x is going to give us a positive 4x squared. And 4x times 4 is going to give us a positive 16x. All right, now we've done all three terms as we can see, so let's move to the second term in the first binomial. So we have a negative 2 times x squared. That's going to give us a negative 2x squared. Negative 2 times x is going to be a negative 2x. And a negative 2 times a positive 4 is going to give us a negative 8. Now we combine. And that's our answer. Easy peasy. It makes combining like terms a whole lot easier when we use the stacking method. All right, that is all we have for lesson 49. I think they're getting a little bit easier, guys. I think you guys are seeing some repetition here of things that we've done in the past being applied a little bit deeper. And I think it's going to come a lot easier for you. So I will see you in lesson 50.